When was the last time when you did something for the first time? I can also ask this question as when was the last time when you did something for the first time? What was noteworthy here was the second delivery was dry and dull, while the first one was full of life and energized. So remember, guys, voice modulation is the most powerful weapon in your arsenal, and I will teach you how to deploy it. Let's watch this lesson and learn how to break the monotone of your delivery. Sometimes people often tell me that, they're struggling with engaging their audience. People don't really listen to them when they are speaking. Or for that matter, they actually struggle to convey the right message in the right manner. What is it that is the differentiating factor? It's voice modulation. Now, what exactly is voice modulation? Let's first understand voice modulation, its benefits. Its benefits are indeed multi pronged. So, I'm going to introduce to you the techniques. And finally, we are going to look at the techniques of voice modulation. Very simple, but probably life transforming results as far as your communication skills are concerned. Let's dive straight into it. Voice modulation, probably the most effective tool so that you can convey your message most effectively. Let's understand what is the meaning of voice modulation. Basically, simply put, you're varying your tone, you're varying your delivery style of whatever sentence it is that you're uttering so that you can enhance your communication and probably ensure that there is better engagement with your audience. Let's understand what are the benefits of voice modulation. Simply put, voice modulation will help you achieve dynamic, emotional, expressive, impactful, and meaningful delivery of your message. How exactly do we go about this? What are the tools that we need to deploy to ensure this? Let's learn in our next segment. There are essentially three areas that we need to take care of when we are probably trying to achieve voice modulation. First is the stress point in a word or in a sentence. Not everything can be stressed upon, and we can't leave, things unstressed when we are trying to deliver a sentence. I'll explain what this means. Let me move on to the next point. So, first one was the stress point when you're delivering. The second one is variation. Often, what happens is we are speaking in a flat tone, one pitch, no ups and downs, highs and lows in our speech. Variation is important. That's one of the key elements of engagement. And the third and very critical element is the emotion or the expression. Your emotion should be felt through your expression of words. What you're trying to convey can't be, very different from what you're feeling. So, these three elements, the stress point, the variation, okay, and the expression and emotion, all these are interlinked, and all these, taking care of these elements is what will help you achieve voice modulation. The first one is probably the pace. The reason I'm talking about pace first is because we need to control the speed of our delivery. Often we are in a rush. Thoughts come to us, one after the other, and we are quickly conveying them, not allowing our audience, be it one single person or a large audience, to consume what is it that we are trying to convey. We are often in a rush. We want to, probably get it over with. But no, that's not the spirit of communication. Take care of your pace. Pace can be adversely impacted in two ways. A, I probably, shorten the words itself. I mean, I say it too quickly. If I say something like, I really like the work that you did, I actually, said it in a very hurried manner, and it was difficult to do, trust me. But this is often the problem that people have. They quickly try to communicate, or they shorten the words. Okay? You can take your time to say the words and the sentence. I really like the work that you did. I took my time to say each and every word, and it was conveyed crystal clear to the recipient of these words. So, the first thing you need to do is control your pace. If you're saying the words too quickly, or if you're saying the sentences too quickly, make sure that you slow down. Take your time to say whatever it is that you're trying to say. So, pace, the first aspect of, or the first technique of voice modulation. Pitch. Pitch and the technique I talked about earlier on, stress point, they are interlinked. How is it that I can, vary my pitch when I'm communicating? How to avoid a flat tone in communication? It's all about stressing at the right points, at the right junctures. One very easy trick I will give you is, for instance, if you're using adjectives and adverbs in your sentence, stress on them. The easiest stress points. For example, if I say Aishwarya Rai is a quintessential beauty queen, there I go. I took my time to say she's a quintessential beauty queen. I stressed on the adjective, okay, so that the pitch can be varied. Let's take a simpler sentence, okay? I'm extremely frustrated these days. There you go. I'm extremely frustrated these days. I took my time to say the word extremely so that my pitch can be varied. Pitch can also be varied when you're probably raising a question and then you answer it by lowering your pitch. Take an example. What is it that we are doing about this problem? It's time we wake up and smell the coffee and address the problem. Did you see the variation in pitch? The question was asked loudly and clearly, and the answer was stated subtly yet effectively. This variation in pitch probably engaged the attention of my audience. If everything is at a high pitch, I'm kind of going to, lose the interest of my audience or the engagement of my audience. So, pitch is more or less covered when you take care of your stress points in sentences through adjectives and adverbs, or for that matter, vary the pitch when you're probably saying certain statements or you're asking certain questions. Pitch can also be taken care of if there are important key messages or keynotes which you want to convey to the listener. For example, if there is a quote in all of what I'm saying, for instance, if I want to say, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. So this one needs to be highlighted through a raised pitch. Allow me to explain what this quote means. I brought my pitch down. I reduced my volume soon after I said the quote. So this variation will help, make for an interesting listening exercise whenever you speak in this manner. Next up, let's talk about the expression or the emotional aspect. Good part of the variation can be built in through expression and emotion. For instance, the atmosphere in whole of India was grim on the day we all received the news of the air crash at Ahmedabad. So I'm conveying this message with a lot of emotional grief, which I'm probably feeling, and that is also going to reflect in my delivery. As against this, when I'm excited about something, the excitement should reflect in my speech. I can't really say, I'm excited. That sounds so dry and dull, and probably zero excitement there. Instead, I should say, I'm excited about this. Let's go for it. Okay? So, if you see the variation that I brought about, the expression and the emotion that I packed in, that helped you connect with me as a speaker. And you could probably resonate or echo my emotion. Let me tell you a few more. For instance, if I'm delivering a sad news, okay, then my speech should reflect that. For instance, the body of the deceased will arrive in a couple of hours. So my tone went slightly in the grim mode, in the serious mode, in the somber mode, because I don't want to, be very loud about a grim message like this. So it should reflect in my delivery. As against that, when you're probably complimenting someone, raise your pitch, okay, and vary your pitch. Wow, how exciting! Great grades, huh? So if you see, wow, how exciting was loud, okay, and then I complimented by saying great grades, huh? Okay, you can even say commendable. That was something, you made us all proud through your grades. So there you go. When you're possibly conveying an emotion, your words, your voice, your tone, your expression should also reflect that emotion. And if you're talking through a visual medium, which means you're probably in front of the person, or you're using a video method of communicating, you're being aired on something like right now, you can watch me what I'm saying. My face also has to reflect what I'm trying to convey. So it's all interconnected, and that is when you will be able to achieve voice modulation. Practice with random sentences and see remarkable results in the way you're going to achieve the defined or the outcome which you're seeking. Right now, when I said the word remarkable, I took my time to say that word. You will achieve remarkable results. The reason is I use the technique of stress point and pitch to ensure that I convey the right emotion. Your tone should also be as per your audience. If you're someone who, by default speaks at a high pitch, try to keep it at a slightly moderate level when you're engaging with a smaller base of audience. And for that matter, if you're someone who doesn't speak loudly, who needs to speak up, that needs practice. Okay? Practice to speak at at a pitch much higher than what your original pitch is if you speak softly by default, simply because your message will never get communicated effectively if you don't use the right tone. I always tell people that you should be heard. That's probably the first golden rule of communication. If you're not even heard, or if you're heard at a pitch higher than desirable, both will work against you.
I want to say something over those pictures like Suraj Palamuk, be quiet. Keep quiet. Understand? When you're spoken to, when I tell you to keep quiet, be quiet.
Why?
Don't open your mouth.
Why?
Quiet.
Who are you?
Because you've spoken too much.
Who are you?
What?
Why
Who
are you dictating me?
Because
Why are you dictating me?
Well,
Who are you?
I don't know whether you are. You know something, Suraj Palamuk.
Lok Sabha. I stand here on behalf of my party, the All India Trinamool Congress. कोई बात नहीं, वो मेरे एलओपी है, वो मेरे एलओपी है, वो ऑलरेडी मुझे सुन चुके हैं, वो मेरे एलओपी है. Honorable Speaker, sir, my esteemed colleagues.
So if you are dealing with a smaller set of audience, a softer tone will work. But if you're dealing with a large audience, by default, you should work with a higher pitch or a higher tone. Another golden rule of communication is pauses. Often we are in a hurry to almost deliver everything that is there inside us without even catching a breath. That will go completely against us when we are trying to give some critical messages. People are not able to take in as much, in a short span of time. In some of my classes, I've spoken about to my learners, I've spoken about the importance of crisp, complete, and positive communication. But more importantly, when you're doing this communication, pause. Allow your audience the time to reflect. Let me give you an idea. If you're addressing a meeting room full of people and you are probably having this space in front of you, as you deliver one line, use that space. Walk. Walk to and fro, allow your audience to absorb it. When you're doing another activity with your core activity, you yourself slow down. You yourself take a pause. And this reflects well in your speech. Another example of pause could be if you have an aisle you can walk through as you're speaking to your audience. Pause. You say one point and pause. Walk. And you can't be obviously standing and staring at your audience. But definitely that pause will help them, to absorb the point you're trying to communicate. So take your pauses. Don't be in a hurry to deliver your content because pauses are a very important element of voice modulation. Such a paradox, isn't it? We say so much by saying nothing.
We are a country of 1.4 billion people. We have more than 800 channels. We have a lot of content. And our phone is full of stories and videos and reels and all sorts of things that you all consume. But we seek validation from the foreign press.
You know, we had a period when the Cold War bipolarity gave way to two overlapping and by and large seen as positive developments. Globalization, spreading around the world, knitting us together economically, technologically, and so on. And of course, from 1990, with the end of the Cold War, the unipolar moment when the US seemed to be in really a position of dominance technologically, economically, militarily, politically.
As we watched some great speakers, great orators who brought to the table so much variation in the delivery of their content. Stress point, variation, expression, and emotion. All of this makes them dynamic orators and really proficient in their delivery of their content. So make sure you use the right pitch and you use the right emotion with the element of pauses, convey it in the right tone, and don't forget, say it at the right pace. All of this makes for great voice modulation. Happy learning at English Excellence with Chhaya.